Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Kellen's Coffee Talk. I'm Kellen Ann, and I'm your host. I appreciate you being here today. And I have the most amazing guest. I know I say that every week, but every guest seems to be amazing in their own way. But before I get to that, I want to talk to our sponsors, Blue Sky Video Productions. If you want your live stream to go stream and be wonderful and not have have great stuff like that on the bottom, call Bruce Himmelblau of Blue Sky Video Productions. He's a YouTube strategist and he's great at production. So the other sponsor is Cards That Wow. That's my business. And I create paper arts that you can send to your clients. It can be your personal or your corporate brand, and it will make you stand out and wow. So without any further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about my guest. He is, I consider him a YouTube phenom, and he has 560,000 followers on TikTok. And his YouTube channel, he's just started developing that. And he's got millions of views of his stories. And the theme of this broadcast is going to be respect. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you JonDawson.
Hey,
Hey,
what's up?
John. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well, you have an amazing story. And I mean, you had a football coach that told you you weren't going to you couldn't play football. And then you made it to combine and tryouts for the pros, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
So
was, yeah.
I'm thinking you have, a don't tell me no attitude. So to begin, can we tell our listeners, just a little bit about your history and, where you grew up and, just what is the path that led you here?
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you thinking of me to be on here. It's it's still as much as I've been talking recently, it's still different, and new to talk about yourself. So it's still kind of different. But I was adopted early on in life. My mom, my birth mom, and my birth father, obviously, they were not really together, not really anything there. So my mom made an amazing choice to still have me and to put me up for adoption. And she couldn't find a way to take care of me, so she put me up for adoption. And the parents that adopted me gave me a life that I otherwise would never have. And I feel like that's kind of where the basis of everything stems, and my outlook on life is realizing that someone took their hard-earned money, their precious time, and they put it into someone who wasn't their responsibility to start with. And I feel like out of gratitude for that, I want to make sure that I do that. I share that same spirit in everything I do. So that's kind of where everything came from. And then from there, it just kind of went on from, just I like you said, I don't like being told no. I love a challenge. If something's easy, I'm probably not going to do it because I want to achieve something in the end. So that kind of stemmed, and that kind of is just the life story. Like those two things of given an opportunity that I never otherwise would have had, and just loving a challenge is kind of the setup for the trajectory of how I live my life. So from there on out, yeah, I just went from being told no a lot, being told you're different a lot, being told you can't a lot, to realizing that it means nothing because as soon as someone says you can't and then you do, you realize that that holds no power over you, and it's amazing what you can accomplish from there. So that's kind of where everything. I mean, a long story. I won't get into the whole life story, but that's kind of where the whole thing started. Is just basically that one. Someone said you could never, and you do, and then you realize that every person from there on out that says you can't is purely just lying to you.
That's great, and you learn that at an early age, so you have the rest of your life to benefit from that knowledge.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, how did you get started on TikTok? Because my daughter uses it, and she does all these dances,
The
and
dance, yeah.
I just never understood it until I saw you on Ken Wall's show, and then I like, oh, there's other things than those silly
Yeah,
dances,
yeah.
and
It's I thought the same thing. So like I never got on TikTok. I was never big on Vine and all the other platforms prior to this musically. I grow my Instagram through my construction business, and I do like paid sponsors on there where people reach out and I try out products and whatnot. And then TikTok reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want you to move your content of DIY, like how-to videos. We want you to bring that content to our platform." And they had a little program, like a Learn on TikTok program. So like, hey, come on here, create X amount of videos. We're gonna pay you this amount. And we just want to try to bring the older demographic to TikTok. So I was kind of in that flagship program of bringing the older generation to TikTok. And it started out as DIYs, and that's what I was posting. I think I got up to about 40,000 followers just posting DIY stuff, like every day. And I didn't really enjoy it because it was just very empty. Like the followers, no one had a username. It was just user 22756430, whatever.
Hmm.
And it didn't have that interaction that you have on other platforms where you learn, you build a community, you start meeting your followers. So I didn't really think anything of it. I was just doing it because they were going to pay me some money at the end.
Right.
Then Black Lives Matter happened. That whole situation happened, and I made 3 consecutive videos just calling its bluff. It was probably 2 days after George Floyd had been killed. No one was saying it. I tried to find someone saying it. It was even like, I think a day before Candace Owens said anything.
Hmm.
No one had said anything. And I was like, I'm not letting this go again. I was sitting in my car at a job site watching a little girl and a little boy, both black, playing on the side of the street, thinking about what's happening in the news. And I was like, this is a joke. How are these kids here playing in an impoverished community, and everybody's out there writing for Black Lives Matter, but these kids will never benefit from what's happening? How is
Hmm.
that really accurate? So that just kind of sparked a fire in me. Made those videos, I think, across YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. They got like over 30 million views. My whole profile shot up, and then I said, well, I stepped in it now, and I guess I just kept I just kept talking. So that's kind of how the TikTok thing happened. And then as I did that, I started to get more onto the side of TikTok where there's adults, there's politics, there's education, there's just a big community of short-term education, meaning like 60-second education. And it's starting to take over TikTok. It's starting to be almost equal proportionately to the dancing and the whatever else you see on TikTok. So that's kind of how it all started.
Well, what I like about you is you express your opinion. You're loud about it, and you don't hold anything back. I don't mean loud, but you don't hold anything back.
Yeah.
And but you also weigh both sides. You research it before before you have your opinion, and I've seen you on your YouTube channel where you've confronted people, not confronted, but brought people on with a conflicting opinion, and I like that about you because you're fair.
Yeah.
So okay, so your TikTok kind of propelled you into like being
Politics.
known.
Yeah.
And so now you're kind of the format. I understand, if I understand correctly, the format is not long enough for you to have your video because TikTok's short. You have to be short.
Yeah.
And so now you're transitioning into more YouTube, and you're looking to up your followers there, right?
Yeah, because YouTube, I mean, every time I make a video on TikTok, everyone's like, well, you didn't mention this. Like I made a TikTok about Democratic Party and what they've done to the black community through welfare, EBT, all the different stuff. And then everyone wants to come at you being like, well, you didn't mention disabled people. You didn't mention, the white people that are on. And I'm like, I have 60 seconds to address a topic.
Mhm.
Everyone feels like you're going to fit world peace into 60 seconds. And I'm just like, come on, guys, I'm hitting a target point and take it for what it is. And I assume, which is never good when talking about this stuff, that people will draw their own conclusions to the unsaid subtext.
Right.
They don't. So I've started to go onto YouTube to create that same content and basically say, hey, look, this is a snippet of what I'm saying. If you want full context for me to dive deeper into it, go over to YouTube, watch the full context, then get back to me. So that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards YouTube, because it's hard to unpack Trump versus Biden. It's hard to unpack Black Lives Matter, racism, all this other stuff in 60 seconds,
Right.
especially when you're trying to weigh both sides. I mean, it's easy to say Trump 2020 or Biden 2020, but then to explain why and why not, you need a little more time.
Right. So so do you consider having like mini debates with your guests, or are you mainly going to keep solo?
I don't like debates. I did that one debate a couple nights ago purely
Yeah.
because that's the structure that man felt comfortable with.
Hmm.
I'm all about accommodating the opposing side because it's hard to get them to even
Right.
discuss. So if they're willing to discuss through a debate form, then I'm going to do it. I prefer podcast form. I prefer discussion form because at the end of it, your followers are going to think what your followers already think. My followers are going to think what my followers already think. So the only thing we can do is bring value. So the only way I'm not going to go solo moving forward is if someone's willing to sit down, opposing sides or same sides, and discuss information rather than just debate to try to win because
Hmm.
that doesn't bring value to anybody. No one cares if you're yelling and screaming. I mean, we saw the presidential debate. It was like we all walked away with literally no value. So I want to have lots of guests, but I want it to be in like this type of format, the interview format, the conversation format, stuff like that.
Okay, good. So, and part of the reason, and I brought this up in the beginning, was respect. So, why is respect so important to you?
It's just it's what makes the world go round. We've lost sight of that. Everyone and everyone wants to do like the one love world peace. That's not really realistic. We're not all gonna just be in love with each other and see things the same way. So in my eyes, I have my brand much love, but it's not saying we have to be on the same page. People confuse respect and love with a common ground or a common understanding.
Hmm.
And I think respect is the most important purely because if you're the opposing view of mine, I need to respect the fact that you came to that conclusion in some way, shape, or form. And instead of me disrespecting your beliefs, I need to give you my education of how I arrived at my position. And I need to listen to your reasoning behind why you got to your position. And then we can compare and contrast
Hmm.
rather than just disrespect and then, I mean, falling on deaf ears from there on out. So, like, everyone starts with disrespect. And then from everything past that point, completely pointless. So if you don't have that respect, hey, look, I respect you enough to listen. If you'll respect me enough to listen to me, and then I mean, the limits. I mean, it's endless. You can go anywhere with that.
Right. I mean, imagine if we all had that mindset. Um, there would be probably less arguing
Yeah,
and fighting, and I mean, because everybody's opinion is valid in my opinion, and
yeah,
I listen to it with open ears and open heart. And if I don't agree with it, I just don't. I mean, that's
yeah.
in my head, and it really doesn't go any farther than that.
I
So,
feel like it's valid until proven not valid. So a lot of
right.
people that I speak, they're like, well, like the whole one love thing. I argue my point, as you know, as you've seen. I argue my point very passionately. I'm
Hmm.
going to try to articulate to the best of my ability what I believe in order to educate you in what I believe. But that
Hmm.
doesn't mean I'm going to disrespect you when after I've laid all my cards on the table and you say I still don't believe that, then at that point I realize that you've taken in information and you've rejected it, but you've analyzed it.
Hmm.
Nowadays, we're not even taking in the information to start with to even think about analyzing it. So it's like, Trump's racist, and everyone's like, yes. And then you give the information, and it's like it literally bounces right back out, back to you, and doesn't even soak in for them to get an idea, and then like say, no, I still think he is. And if that's the case, then that's totally fine. But
Right.
people aren't looking over the information because there's no respect for the other side, and this goes both ways. There's no respect for the other side to even understand. So I feel like people need to argue their point, be passionate, but also accept when you're not going to have someone agree with you. It's okay. You don't save every single person when the world keeps spinning. It's one of those things we got to learn to let go, but educate, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
No, it does completely. Where it's difficult to find information. I mean, sometimes when I'm want to find out about something, I have to really dig and find it. What is your go-to? Where do you have to base your opinion on facts? Where do you search for those facts?
So that's been becoming more and more difficult. I get to ask this question a lot, and I tend to just say you got to dig because every source has a bias. I
Right.
personally have a bias. When I look for information, you got to understand. And I forgot her name. Ame. I forgot her first name. I was on with her with Ken Walls the other day. She said it perfectly, where you have to realize you have a subconscious bias or a conscious bias when you go researching. You're trying to find, when I go searching, I'm trying to find something, right? And you can
Right.
find anything if you want to. So
Right.
you need to make sure that when you're searching for information and true facts. So usually what I do is I find a far left site
Hmm.
like be CNN or whatever, and then I'll find a far left, which could be You know, I mean, I don't even. I tend not to go far left because that's already my opinion. But like if you were to go to trending politics or anything like that, and then you can go, you know, New York Post is leaning that way as well. And then you want to find as many articles down the middle as you can. So
Hmm.
like by the end of it, I might have 7 articles talking about the exact same thing. And then you take all the facts out of all of them. You put them side by side like a 5 spread pros and con list, and you just draw connections. Okay, these are the facts. Out of all 35 facts, 4 of them continued through all articles. So
Hmm.
now you can say, okay, all I know for certain is that these 4 are what all sides can agree on. And then you'll start to understand, and then you can kind of build off that base of information, those 4 facts, and learn how the story plays out after that. But nowadays, every information has an agenda. It's not about true information. It's about pushing a narrative. So it's just really difficult. You have to really dig.
So has anybody ever changed your mind? Like when you had an opinion and you've spoken to somebody and they've actually, you went, oh, wait. And have you ever changed your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started speaking out about this, I was very against systemic racism today.
Hmm.
Like I didn't feel like systemic racism was still implemented today, and I still don't fully believe that. But I do see how the trickle down effect from all the history that Black Americans have gone through is still in effect today. It's not tangible. It's not a physical law. It's not a physical policy. It's nothing that's implemented. It is a mental oppression. And that is one thing that I kind of, because I never had it. I threw that away. I mean, I had it for maybe the first 12 years of my life because, you know, everybody was against me. It was everybody's fault. If I didn't do something or if I didn't get something, it was somebody else's fault, or they didn't like me because I was Black. My coach didn't like me because I was Black, whatever it was. And I let go of that, and I've never gone back. So I assumed personally that it just disappeared. You know what I mean? Um, but I never really realized that it's still there in people's heads very heavily.
What made it go away for you? What was the impetus that, you know,
It was just that someone said I couldn't,
okay.
and they said I never would be able to, and then I did, and I was like, oh, these are purely just words. Like it's
Hmm.
purely just words, and people trying to mess with your psyche, and people don't value their psyche enough. They don't value their mental health at all. And I don't mean mental health as in like diseases. I mean mental health
Right.
as an exercise of the mind to not just receive and accept, but to receive, calculate, analyze, and then see where you're going.
I mean that I mean that holds true for anything in your life, not just
Yeah.
politics or I mean every part of your life that applies to. So, what would you suggest to young people? Because you know you're still youngish, and like how would you help them develop their own opinions? Like you know, not say listen to me or listen to him, but to how would you recommend that they go about not being afraid to share their opinions?
Um, I just think just standing firm in your truth, but not so much to where you end up being prideful or ignorant.
Okay.
Um, a lot of people know what they stand for, and they're not
Hmm.
willing to learn more. I had that problem when I had the debate the other night. It's like you have someone who's very intelligent and knows how to speak quickly and sound good, but they're not willing to listen and learn. So at that point, it's like you can keep spitting your what you think is the most intelligent thing that's ever come to Earth, but if you're not willing to quiet down and listen to someone else say
Hmm.
something, then now you're ignorant. Regardless of how smart you are, if you're not willing to listen, you're ignorant because the smartest man in the world has many things that he can still learn. And
Right.
we're all very far from that. Most of us are. So it's like, I think standing firm in your truth, know your base values and your core truth, but always be willing to pile on top of that and learn more and be respectful during the process.
Got it. This is out of order. So you're in Texas, but
Yep.
you were born in California.
hmm
And what made you move to Texas?
I went to college in Kansas, so I
Okay.
got a taste of the Midwest. Bought a house there for the price of a car,
Yeah.
and remodeled it and sold it for a really good profit, and moved back to California after college while I was doing the combine and all that stuff. And then through the process of football, I traveled to a lot of Midwest states for combines and pro days. And when I went back to California, I lived in California for about 6 months, and I just hated it. It was just, I just despised it. It wasn't. It's regulated. It's meant to encourage the elites to be successful. They make it very difficult for anybody on the ground level to start something. Everybody is mad that the elite and the corporations get tax cuts, but what they don't realize is that when you put regulations on the small people like me who want to start a business, I don't care about tax cuts. I care about regulations so I can go out and start my business so I can start benefiting from the elite tax cuts. So for me, California is the biggest stifler, if that's even a word. They're the biggest shutdowning of regulations or of small companies due to the regulations. And I tried to start a business there, and it was going to cost me like 60 grand just to get my paperwork filed, to get my insurances, my bonds, all this different stuff, to get my seller's license, my employee IDs, all this different stuff. And I was like, I can't do it. So I started looking at different states, and Texas was like, look, come over here, file your paperwork, cost you like $800, and then get your licenses for your sellers and your insurance and your EIN and go for it. And I was like, that's my kind of state. That's an opportunity state. So I just left. I haven't looked back. I just couldn't do California, and it's expensive. I couldn't even afford a house there.
Yeah. So do you still have your construction business?
Yes.
And you're an investor as well now, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we do new builds, remodels, and then we're actually now starting to go into Airbnbs. We're going into Airbnbs and doing that more as a full time, where we buy houses, we renovate them, and we use them as short-term rentals.
Okay. I'm thinking Kara, she's one of my friends. I'm thinking about getting into flipping houses. She's an amazing, she can turn a piece of garbage into treasure. I mean, she's got the
that's
touch.
what flipping is. So it sounds like it was made for you.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about your clothing line, which I'm wearing today.
Yeah, I like it.
I was so happy that it came on time. And then I got this one for my daughter, who's 17.
Sweet. I love it.
She loves you, by the way. Oh, she's probably watching. Wait, what's that?
That's the site for the much like.
I like that it has this thing. The
little arm right here. Yeah, look, we got it. Hey.
I make cards for all my guests, but I couldn't figure out what to make yours, so I'm gonna actually do this.
That would be sweet.
So I'll be sending those out to you.
That'll be.
I think Bruce was gonna bring up one of your TikToks. Are you gonna do that, Bruce? We're gonna share.
I don't know which one you want to bring up.
Sure, I can bring up the whole page, and you can pick which one you want. Actually, let me put you back here. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to bring up your TikTok page, and you can pick out whichever one you think is most appropriate, I guess.
I mean, they're all appropriate. Well, I mean, I don't know where your audience stands. They're all appropriate, but
I think Kellen has an audience across both spectrums.
Yeah, we're pretty mixed here.
So we've got a very popular one, and then we got something like some basic pulls. So anything that you
the number this let's see.
I'm hovering.
The one right before the one right after the guy with the beard, that one talks about Trump down like the last line. Down in the middle, yeah, that one right there, I think.
Down in the middle?
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah, that one's, I think,
so this one.
The right one.
The 10.4K?
Yeah, I think that one.
Okay.
It blows my mind. What do black people want? What does the black community want for most of all? Is for the system to be destroyed. The system that implemented all the systemic racism, right? And then someone gets in office that's not a politician that's tearing down the system, but then we believe the system that we want to destroy when they tell us that the man who's taking down that system is a bad man. So we're like, wait. We wanted the system destroyed. Now someone's destroying the system, but we're believing the system when they're telling us that the man who's destroying the system is bad. Of course they're saying he's bad. He's destroying the system. We can't see that we have something right in front of us that we've been asking for so long because we're too ignorant to understand that someone could possibly not be racist. But instead, we're looking back to someone who's been in the system for 47 years to be the one to break the system for it. And me thinking this way, I get called uneducated and not thinking clearly. Make it make sense, man. Much love to you all, but woo! It blows my mind. What do black people want? What does the black community want for most of all? Is for the system to be destroyed. The system that implemented all the systemic racism, right? And then someone gets in office that's not a politician that's tearing down the system, but then we believe the system that was destroyed.
So that's my TikTok, guys. There it is.
Oh gosh. So no, that was great. Thanks, Bruce.
That's if you guys want to see more of that, that's my TikTok. It's very unapologetically me, true, like my personal truth.
So actually there's nothing wrong with that, having a truth. By Bruce. How can people find you? Do you want, because we want to blow up your YouTube.
My YouTube, I think someone posted it here in the comments. They posted the link. Like I said, I'm not good at sharing my YouTube because I don't have like a @ like I can't do like John_Dawson for YouTube. Like I have to like link it. But that link in there that I think that you put that on there. I think that would be the easiest way to get there. But
well, I just Google your name and
you can Google it, or even if you go to my TikTok, which is really easy to find, or my Instagram or anything like that, it'll link you straight there with the link that I have on all my platforms. And it'll take you to YouTube, or you just go to YouTube and type in John_Dawson, and my videos will pop up, and you'll be able to find my channel. That's
how I found you. So where can people tell us a little bit about the clothing line, the purpose?
So clothing. So I actually recently started. So I started originally because I wanted to spread patriotic vibes, but with respect. I feel like we're polarized right now, where it's like. If you're a patriot, you're anti basically everything else. And I wanted to create a much love brand. Like I say, after almost every single one of my videos, is like, much love. Regardless of what I just said in that video, understand like it's coming from love. And that's what the clothing brand really is about. Like we just wrote a behind the brand and kind of what it's about. And it all stemmed from the beginning of this year when I first started speaking out about all this stuff. It's just, I want people to wear the clothes and be a part of a community of all colors, sizes, even if you're in different countries. I want it to be something where people can come together and realize that like we're all super different and we all believe really different things, but in the end we're all inhabiting the same earth, and it's like we don't need to agree, we just need to be respectful to each other. So that's kind of where the Much Love brand is. We're actually rebranding it, not rebranding it, but we're expanding on it. We're doing sweatshirts, crop tops, we're doing long sleeve crew necks, sweatpants. We're doing actually everything because our sales have gone crazy with just the t-shirts. So we're trying to create a community, and that's the clothing brand aside, I really do want it to be something that people are gonna wear, and then they're gonna like have someone ask them, like America 2020, or some of the other ones that like this one says hustle like your freedom depends on it. Stuff like that where people are just like, what's that shirt about? And then someone can see the much love and they're like, well, it's about the fact that I don't care what you believe. I'm going to stand beside you as a human. And we're going to discuss passionately, if we need to, our differences. But in the end, I'm not going to alienate you from my family. I've seen it a lot in my family and other families where they alienate people because of beliefs or because of votes. It's kind of like if you buy one of these shirts, you're going to say, hey, look, I'm here to be respectful. I'm here to understand. I'm here to appreciate people over hate them for whatever they think. So that's kind of.
So it's like you're on Team People, whoever you are, wherever you are. I'm on Team People.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's not bad people. There's bad people out there that I do not agree with, and I do not like what they do. But it really is that Team People. It's like, look, we got to understand like the basis of humanity is just like respect, and that's coming from someone who is very passionate, a black Trump supporter. I understand the targeting I get. I understand how crazy that sounds. So like for me, it's just, I don't think I should be black Trump supporter. I think I should be, a friend, someone, a person. So that's kind of the whole thing. Is just
that's what you are.
I appreciate it.
You're John. You're John. You're not.
Exactly.
I don't categorize anybody. So, and I know there's a lot more people like that. But it's just nice to hear you talk your mind and your values. And I really appreciated you being here today. So, thank you for your time. Be sure to check out the Much Love Zone for your shirts. The sweatshirts, I just saw them the other day, and those looks. I think it was in one of your videos. It was one of your YouTube.
Yeah. I had them. Yeah. They're
Great.
comfy, and they're like a little bit thinner too, which is perfect for Texas because it's always hot.
Yeah. And they're true to size, just so you know, because I got 2 different sizes to figure out.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry about buying it larger or smaller. They are true to size. So I thought I'd give you that little plug there.
Perfect. I love it. I'll take it.
Well, thank you again. And everybody, thank you for joining me today. Thank you, Blue Sky Video Productions, for your assistance in producing this show for me. You're the best, Bruce. And always remember, cards that wow. So if you want personal or corporate branding and you want people, when they receive a correspondence from you, to actually say, wow, then give me a call. So have a great day, everybody. I look forward to you guys joining me next week. I have Michael Heppel. It's going to be a fun interview. So have a great day, everyone. Bye, John.
Bye. It was good seeing you.